then, the cat on screen meows. The sound is strange and not at all like any cat should sound. Haunting, almost melodic, and layered as if it was made of multiple voices of different creatures. Creatures that would probably never say. You sit in confusion, wondering whether you haven't already gotten up and left to complain to the cinema staff. But then you hear it. It's scattered and dissonant at first, but among the crowd, people start to chant along with the cat on screen. Soon the entire room is chanting in perfect unison, everyone staring intently at the crowd on screen, feeling strangely drawn to the screen yourself, but the compulsion to stare blankly like the others isn't that strong for now. Also, you start to notice out of the corner of your eye that some of the people in your immediate vicinity are looking at you. No. They're outright staring holes into you, even as they continue chanting. They don't miss a beat as they slowly begin to frown at you in blatant disapproval. Their scowls deepen as time goes, as if they're getting impatient. It's too weird. I need to get out of here. Gathering your courage, or perhaps putting your fear to use, you stand up, fully intending to leave the theater. When everything comes to an abrupt stop, all the chanting stops, even the cats chanting on the screen. You tense and risk a glance around the theater. They're all staring at you. Every single one of them. They're not moving. They're not blinking. You swallow your throat. Suddenly, dry enough through a nervous sweat completely soaks through your clothes. You highly doubt that sitting back down will fix the situation. Your legs are shaky under the audience's unnaturally intense scrutiny, but you force yourself to step forward and forward and forward until you finally reach the end of the aisle. You feel their collective gaze even worse on the staircase. All their heads have turned uncomfortably to the left to look directly at you. The screen illuminates their faces, making clear their blank scowls. They seem even more upset than they had been minutes ago. Identical frowns, lines digging between their brows. You keep going, the heavy atmosphere becoming more and more oppressive with every step. You're so tense with anticipation that you finally expect someone to grab at you from behind. But no one does. You don't hear any of them even get up. You exit the theater, holding your breath as the doors close behind you. You briskly walk through the halls, putting as much distance as possible between you and the theater full of people. Finally reaching the lobby, you just barely manage to catch yourself from falling to the floor as you gulp in a huge gasp of air. You expect to feel relief as your breathing calms, but you feel a lingering sense of dread that only spikes once you finally notice it, as well as its source. You look up, and your stomach sinks. All the people in the lobby area in the movie theater, everyone in line at the concession stand, all of them are staring at you, and they look even angrier than the people in the theater. You don't hesitate this time. You duck your head, avoiding eye contact, and leave the cinema. You ignore the glares of everyone in the ticket booths and lines leading to them. You make your way home. Whenever you dare to look up at someone on the way, you flinch at the blatant anger, fury, and disgust on their face. You think you start to hear the faint sound of a cat's meowing behind you, or maybe a kitten's? Doesn't matter, you just want to go home. You reach your front door and fumble with the keys, cowering from the look of pure hatred on your neighbor's face as he stares at you from his door. Lock all the doors and slide down with your back against it till you're sitting on the floor. You allow yourself a moment to breathe. Now home, your heartbeat calm. What's up, everyone? Today we are playing Do Not Take This Cat Home. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get right into it. Start. You're not having a great day as usual. Relatable. Oh great. It's the first time in a while that you felt like going out. In the middle of your work, it starts to rain. Typical, but maybe that's just a sign that you should have stayed home today. Yeah, you can always try again tomorrow, right? Turn to head home when... Huh? What was that? Only a few people around on the street. Makes sense due to the increase of missing persons around the area recently. Well, and the weather. But none of them react to the sound at all. Curiosity guiding your steps, you follow the sound to the entrance of a dark, dingy alleyway. You timidly enter the alleyway and walk forward. The ground dampened by the rain makes your step sound louder and more confident than you actually feel. Finally, the sound source comes from into the view in the cold, dim light of the alley. At the end of the alley, in a big cardboard box. It's a kitty! It's a cat. Huh, guess that should have been obvious. It's an interesting looking cat. Its pretty yellow eyes shine gold among the dark sea of its black fur. It puts its front paws up on the edge of the box and looks up at you. So cute! And it definitely knows it. You never had much of an opinion on one way or the other about cats before, but if they're all like this one, it's a shock they haven't already found a way to rule the world. You don't think you'd mind bowing down to a feline overlord. You look around the alley with a small frown. Who leaves cats in cardboard boxes these days anyway? Wouldn't they just jump out and leave the box eventually? The cat doesn't answer you. The cat doesn't answer you, obviously. Also doesn't do as you suggest and leave the box. It's just looking at you, as if it's waiting for you to make the next move. No. With a sigh, you just take a decisive step back. As cute as the cat is, you really can't afford to be taking a pet on a whim. Rent's coming up soon. Your job doesn't exactly leave you rolling in dough. You give the cat a sad nod. Sorry. Good luck out there, okay? Turn around and leave the cat in the alley behind. Rain's picking up. Time to head home. Ending. Not a fool. Alright. Just gonna skip through all this. Now I'm gonna take the cat home. Take the cat home. You know what? Reach into the box and pick the cat up, holding it in front of you. Why not? Meow. You're all alone, and well, I'm kind of in the same boat myself, so bring the cat close. You didn't realize it was shivering until just then, but it slowly breathes easier as it presses into your chest. Why not stick together, right? At least for a little while. Let's go. You think a little while will probably be more like a day. You'll be responsible, and it'll take it to a shelter tomorrow. But for now, let's get you out of the rain, okay? You stop by a small local pet store for some cat food and head back home. You live in a modest apartment. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. 1 you, living alone in it. So it feels weird having another living being inside it after so long. Even if it's just a cat. After locking the front door and placing the cat on the floor, you watch for a moment as it curiously explores the new environment. Leaving the feline to its own devices, you set about making the both of you some dinner. Take out the can of cat food and open it with the tab on top. Put some cat food on a saucer and click your tongue to call the cat over to you. It perks up at you beckoning and rushes over. It looks at the plate of food. It completely ignores it. Not hungry, I guess. You try not to let it annoy you. The cat doesn't understand the concept of money to appreciate that you spent your hard-earned cash on it. It's just a cat after all. I'll just leave it for you here if you get hungry later, okay? The cat rubs its body against your leg with a purr. You smile. That's enough of a thanks for you. It follows you into the kitchen as you start your own dinner. You decide that you have enough ingredients for a sandwich. Bread toasted. Mayo mustard spread. Turkey and cheese and lettuce perfectly placed. Tomatoes sliced. Ow! You wince as you cut your finger on the knife while slicing a tomato. Stupid. You feel a little embarrassed for such a blunder and sigh, tossing the knife onto the cutting board. You're about to head to the bathroom for a bandage when the cat hops up onto the counter. It sniffs the knife and meows, almost potently maybe, at you. Don't worry, I'm alright, it was just a... You watch as the cat starts to Lick lightly but enthusiastically at the blood on the knife, at your blood. You're so shocked that by the time you come to your senses, the knife has already been completely licked clean. The cat sits back, staring at you. You feel a little uneasy. Sure, cats are meat-eating predators, but that was a little weird, right? Sure, you're no cat expert, but that was definitely not something an ordinary cat would do. Right? Well, regardless, you're not going to abandon a cat in need while it's still raining outside. Not after all your efforts. We're going to take it to shelter tomorrow anyway. What's one night of awkwardness? Weird or not, it's just a cat. The rest of the evening, unfortunately, goes downhill from there. Even after covering up your finger's cut with a bandage, the cat keeps trying to lick at the wound while you're eating your sandwich, while you're cleaning up the kitchen, while you're trying to watch TV. You gently push it away every time, but you're starting to get worried at the strange behavior. What if it's got a taste for blood and thinks you're food now? I'm not sure what you'll do if it starts to get more aggressive. Keep thinking about the cat food sitting in the corner, untouched. Come on, enough already. You shove it away a little more forcefully this time out of annoyance. You feel bad immediately. Before you can do anything, the cat meows sharply at you and dashes around the corner and into the hall. You sigh deeply. At this point, you're just worried that it's going to take a bite out of you in your sleep. Maybe a vet will have an idea on how to calm it down. You can only hope. You don't have many other options left than tossing the cat out in the rain. And to find the number of the local vet, pick up your landline and... The lights just went out? Great, just great. Gray must have knocked out the power. You check your cell phone only to find it's out of batteries. You must have forgotten to charge it before leaving earlier, or going out earlier. The outing had been so spur of the moment that it had no doubt messed up your usual routine. You grab a flashlight and turn it on. It's quiet. It's too quiet. Did the rain stop? But then, why did the power go out? You look outside. The sky is pitch black. What time is it? You turn to check the clock. The cat sits on top of your digital clock, staring at you. Thinking now, you realize the clock shouldn't be working at all with the power outage, but the numbers are lit up and going completely haywire. The cat stares at you. It's completely still. You'd think it was a statue if you didn't know any better. It's not giving off any indication that it's alive. It's not blinking. It's not even breathing, but its eyes. This isn't normal. You're afraid. You want to run, but you're afraid of letting the cat out of your sight. You consider tossing the cat out after all. But as soon as the thought enters your head, you feel a sharp urge to vomit. Those eyes, its eyes hold you still, even with your flashlight trained on it. Its pupils are large, its round inky pits. The flashlight flickers. And the cat is gone. Fear immediately grips your mind. A silence punctuated with the rapid pumping of blood in your heart is overridden as your ears slowly start to pick up the sound of static all around you. How is the clock working with no power? You don't know why such a question matters at that moment, but you feel if having the answer will make sense of everything that's happening. That order will be restored, but no answer comes to mind. You back away from the clock and feel as if the air itself coils tightly and abruptly in response, like a predator prepared to pounce, but waiting for your next move. But you're afraid to move. You're afraid to even take a breath. But you can't stay still forever, right? Whatever is watching you can already feel its impatience. It's too eager. You don't know how you know this, but you can sense it as clearly as if it had whispered. Right into your ear, right into your soul. It won't let you wait it out. Not that you could, even if it did. You can't stay here. You have to run. With this thought, a sudden primal instinct awakens within you, making you tear yourself into a hasty burst of movement, of action. But you're still weak from the fear's grip on your mind. Your legs tangle together under you in your haste, and you fall to the ground. I'm dead. A sharp pain explodes in the center of your foot. At first, you think you've broken your ankle. I can't talk. But something warm and wet trickles down the length of your foot, pulling underneath it. You hear the sound of metal scraping on tiles after skidding across the floor, as if it had been kicked. Wind it from your fall. You look up and gaze and see the object glinting in a strange light coming in from outside. The light pouring in from your now open front door. Thoughts of how, when, who, what, and in regards to your inflexibility, open door screech to a halt as your brain finally identifies the metallic object you've been staring at. It's your kitchen knife. It's still tinted red from your earlier blunder. But that's not right. Wasn't it completely licked clean by the... You gulp dryly at the pain in your foot. You barely have time to wonder how the knife ended up on your living room floor to be stepped on, instead of resting on your cutting board in the kitchen where you'd left it. When you spy something in the darkness just beyond the knife, it spies right back at you. A pair of glowing golden eyes come forward as the cat emerges from the shadows into the light from your doorway. It pads lightly over to the knife, as skipping into light. It bends down to lap at the blood dripping down from the blade. Your senses slowly begin to overwhelm you. The chill of the air, it starts to suffocate under its weight. The sound of your shaky breaths, discordant against the static now piercing your skull. The dryness of your tongue spreading to your throat. The incomprehensible sight of the stray you'd taken in, licking away at your kitchen knife, once again completely clean. The scent of blood from your fresh wound on your foot. Blood? Golden eyes slide up to you as in response to your sudden realization. Blood. You're hurt. Your foot is bleeding. You're bleeding. You're bleeding. The cat barely moves, shoulders twitching as if it just considered the act of pouncing forward. But you're already on your feet and out of the door. You run or ladder limp down the empty street. The sky is black and bleeding red, but there's a strange light emitting from somewhere that casts everything else in white. The houses and trees, the road, even you, everything, except your blood. You can just barely glimpse the bloody imprints on your injured foot leaves in your wake with every impact it makes with the ground. It hurts. It hurts. But you can't stop. You don't stop. Not when the shadows grow around you. Not when you feel the gaze of eyes all over you. Not when the road ahead of you is darkened by a long shadow of something behind you. Even then, you don't stop running because... if that's the cat right there ahead of you, then... what in the world is behind you? Look behind me. Huh? Interesting. How very, very interesting. 0 begins. You're walking, right, of course, and you... that's a good sign, right? Maybe your luck is finally starting to turn around. Tentatively allow yourself to feel excited for the possibilities where you could go or what you could do. Maybe even who you can meet. You're so deep in thought that you almost miss it. Huh, what was that? Curiosity guiding your steps, you follow the sound of the entrance of the lovely alleyway. The sunlight only just manages to reach down in between the tall buildings on either side, timidly enter the alleyway and walk forward the loose gravel and scattered debris on the ground, softening your steps. Finally, the sound of source comes into view, the warm, almost eternal light of the alley. At the end of the alley, a big cardboard box. It is a cat. Huh, guess that should have been obvious. Meow. It's an interesting looking cat. Its pretty yellow eyes shine like gold among the dark sea of its black fur. I've already seen this. So familiar, right? Then again, it is a cat. Not many different ways for a standard black cat to look after all. This one sure is a cutie though. Just look. It's not glaring at you or hissing at you for getting this close like other stray cats would have in the past. It's just sitting there patiently, waiting for you to do something. Do not take it home. Sadly, as cute as this cat is, you'd never take this thing home with you. You just can't take it home with you. You're a responsible adult. Bye-bye. You are, with rent and bills to pay for, not to mention you need to buy food to survive too. There's no way I could care for a cat long term, right? You can barely afford this little outing on your day off. Meow. What to do? Leave the cat. You don't think it's a good idea to get the cat's hopes up for having someone look after it, and you're not willing to commit. What if it gets attached and somehow attacks you down back to your home? Somehow tracks you down back to your home. I didn't get to read that, but okay. Sorry. See you around, I guess. You stand up, the cat watching your every move. You make it halfway out of the hallway and the cat meows almost pitifully at you. Ignore. Nope, nope. You need to nip this in the bud and get on with your day. It's what's best for the both of you. Leave the alley and continue on your way. What? Wait, what was I doing? In all excitement of dealing with your furry dilemma, you'd forgotten that you still hadn't decided what you were going to do for your day off. I'm gonna go watch a movie. It's been a while since you've seen a film came out that looked interesting enough for you to drag yourself into a movie theater. But there's a showing of one such film at the old theater. The movie was a little too niche to be picked up by the new cinema that opened right across the street. That's okay though, you're not exactly a fan of the crowds, and nothing ruins the experience of watching a new movie for you more than a noisy audience. Go to the old theater. You eagerly buy your ticket from the kind old man in the booth and head inside. It's barren of any trace of other people, and the decor looks like it hasn't changed since the 80s, maybe even the 70s, but that's what you were counting on. Consider buying some popcorn, but can't help but be concerned that everything at the concession stand might be expired. Move on and walk through the halls, finally locating the theater designated on your ticket stub. As expected by the theater, your movie will be playing as completely empty. Perfect. You pick a spot right in the middle, even counting the seats and taking into consideration the gap of the staircase. As you settle in, the dim lights fade away, leaving the room pitch black for a few seconds. Before the screen flickers on, no commercials or trailers pop up. The movie just begins. Pleased, you shrug and let yourself get immersed in the opening scene, but as you're getting into the premise, the doors open behind you momentarily, casting light into the room and ruining the atmosphere. You hold in a frustrated sigh. It's a public establishment, after all. The place can't exactly afford to stay open if you're the only customer. You try to refocus on the movie, but you sense the new presence slowly shifting around the theater before heading in your general direction. What? You gape in utter disbelief as the stranger shuffles in the aisle, only to sit right in front of you. There's no one else here and plenty of places to sit. The stranger is also unusually tall. Even with the stadium-like arrangement of the seats being on a somewhat steep incline, they're completely blocking your view. Move to another spot. You don't want to risk escalating the situation further. This whole thing is already making you uneasy. Why would you choose to sit right in front of you? Surely they know you wouldn't be able to see past them. Shaking your head with a passive aggression scoff in the stranger's direction, you reluctantly pick another less perfect seat in the theater. But as you settle down, you see this strange person get up, only to once again sit down in the seat directly in front of you. You look around somewhat helplessly, as if waiting for someone to silently agree with you about how odd all of this is, or at least inform you that this is all an elaborate prank. But there's no one else here with you. That's how you've always liked it, but you can't help but think that maybe it would be nice to have someone else here, if it meant not being alone with this weird jerk. Leave the theater. This is too weird. Feeling uncomfortable, you decide to leave the theater. There's still enough time left in the day to do something else. Now what? Go to the new cinema. I don't know why. You don't really feel great about the idea of being alone right now. Deciding to wait for the movie you've been anticipating to be available on DVD or streaming, you join the long line outside the new cinema. By the time you reach the ticket booth, you just want to get inside. So you pick a movie at random and take your ticket from the tired-looking teenager managing the booth. The decor is chic and sleek, and the inside is bustling with people. It's not what you're usually into, but it's kind of nice not being alone. Even if you feel a little lonely watching families and groups of friends laughing among themselves, you get some popcorn, but the lines at the concession stands are long, and the prices are criminal anyway. You go through the halls and follow the signs to the theater designated on your ticket before heading inside. You sigh at the sight of an absolutely crowded theater. You head towards a seat, only to be told by the person next to it that it's being saved for someone. This happens a few more times before you finally manage to get yourself settled into a seat, annoyingly off-center to the screen. But the screen is at least visible, if not a little too close, so you grit your teeth and bear it. The lights fade out, the chatter doesn't. The rest of the audience seems content to talk through the commercials and even through the trailers. You figure the chatter will stop when the movie actually begins, but it doesn't get even slightly quieter as the opening scene starts to play out. You sigh out loud, not thinking anyone would hear you anyway. Suddenly, the screen changes, showing the face of a black cat, a familiar black cat. Confused murmurs fill the room, but then the cat on screen meows. The sound is strange and not at all like any cat should sound. Haunting, almost melodic, and layered as if it was made of multiple voices of different creatures that would probably never say. You sit in confusion, wondering whether you haven't already gotten up and left to complain to the cinema staff, but then you hear it. It's scattered and dissonant at first, but among the crowd, people start to chant along with the cat on screen. Soon the entire room is chanting in perfect unison, everyone staring intently at the crowd on screen, feeling strangely drawn to the screen yourself, but the compulsion to stare blankly like the others isn't that strong for now. Also, you start to notice out of the corner of your eye that some of the people in your immediate vicinity are looking at you. No. They're outright staring holes into you, even as they continue chanting. They don't miss a beat as they slowly begin to frown at you in blatant disapproval. Their scowls deepen as time goes, as if they're getting impatient. It's too weird. I need to get out of here. Gathering your courage, or perhaps putting your fear to use, you stand up, fully intending to leave the theater. When everything comes to an abrupt stop, all the chanting stops, even the cats chanting on the screen. You tense and risk a glance around the theater. They're all staring at you. Every single one of them. They're not moving. They're not blinking. You swallow your throat. Suddenly, dry enough through a nervous sweat completely soaks through your clothes. You highly doubt that sitting back down will fix the situation. Your legs are shaky under the audience's unnaturally intense scrutiny, but you force yourself to step forward and forward and forward until you finally reach the end of the aisle. You feel their collective gaze even worse on the staircase. All their heads have turned uncomfortably to the left to look directly at you. The screen illuminates their faces, making clear their blank scowls. They seem even more upset than they had been minutes ago. Identical frowns, lines digging between their brows. You keep going, the heavy atmosphere becoming more and more oppressive with every step. You're so tense with anticipation that you finally expect someone to grab at you from behind. But no one does. You don't hear any of them even get up. You exit the theater, holding your breath as the doors close behind you. You briskly walk through the halls, putting as much distance as possible between you and the theater full of people. Finally reaching the lobby, you just barely manage to catch yourself from falling to the floor as you gulp in a huge gasp of air. You expect to feel relief as your breathing calms, but you feel a lingering sense of dread that only spikes once you finally notice it, as well as its source. You look up, and your stomach sinks. All the people in the lobby area in the movie theater, everyone in line at the concession stand, all of them are staring at you, and they look even angrier than the people in the theater. You don't hesitate this time. You duck your head, avoiding eye contact, and leave the cinema. You ignore the glares of everyone in the ticket booths and lines leading to them. You make your way home. Whenever you dare to look up at someone on the way, you flinch at the blatant anger, fury, and disgust on their face. You think you start to hear the faint sound of a cat's meowing behind you, or maybe a kitten's? Doesn't matter, you just want to go home. You reach your front door and fumble with the keys, cowering from the look of pure hatred on your neighbor's face as he stares at you from his door. You lock all the doors and slide down with your back against it till you're sitting on the floor. You allow yourself a moment to breathe. Now home, your heartbeat calms, your fear slowly bleeds from you, leaving you feeling strangely empty. Past the kitchen, head to your room and slip under the covers of your bed, trying to fall asleep. Maybe it's all just a bad dream. As you fall into a fitful sleep, sure to be the full of nightmares of glaring eyes, you try to ignore the ever-increasing sounds of cats meowing and yowling in the distance outside your apartment. Ending 17. Holy crap, there's so many endings. Well, anyways guys, if you like this video and you want to see me get all the endings, like, subscribe more, comment down below, say, I want you to get all the endings, and I'll do it. Anyways, I hope you like this video, subscribe, come back for more, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.